Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the flight deck. We're here in Nagoya, in Japan. We're flying the ATR72-600 today, continuing our tour of Japan. And today we're heading across the mountain range to the southwest and landing in Osaka at the Kansai airport. As you can hear, it's pretty windy, so this is going to be an interesting flight, dealing with the wind on takeoff and landing. It's windy in both places. But let's get on board. We can start getting the aircraft up and ready to go. All right. We're here. Everything is hooked up and we are all set. So let's get the pre-flight up and done. So cockpit preparations are complete. Gear lever is down. Parking brake is set. And let's go up top. And we'll get the battery on. Close that, doesn't need to be open. Battery is now on. And we'll get the external power up and going. We get the dome light on the inside so we can see what we're doing as well. Kill that master caution. All the panels are now starting to come up so we can start our boarding. And they're going to have to come in by bus.
Boarding requested.
Yeah, ANA can do their boarding for us. That is fine. So with the external power on, we're going to come up, put the nav lights on so they know we've powered up the aircraft. We can go up and do our fire systems check. We'll start with the squib on the number 1 engine. Squib test is good. That's fault. And fire. Ooh, don't do that when I'm pushing buttons. Coming. There's squib is good there. There is fault and fire. That is good on engine number 2. So we'll come down here. There's passenger bus moving out there. So gust lock is on. Propeller brake, we're going to make sure the prop brake is done. We're going to be pushed back, so we're going to be using hotel mode. So we'll come back up top here. If we come down here, we've hit the manual hydraulics to get it ready to go, so we'll go up. Prop brake is now on, as we can see. Sorry if I mute for the odd cough. Still dealing with the after effects of that little cold I had. You might hear it in my voice still. So the prop brake is on. We'll get the no devices sign on. Seatbelt signs are on. Emergency exit lights are now armed. Windshield anti-ice is on. And as we can see, it's only 12 degrees. Outside temperature is 12, which is correct. So we're going to make sure that we are auto temp, but we'll get it a little bit warmer once we get some heat up and going. So time to come down and do the FMS. All right, so nav data is all good. We can go to our initialization and our position. So we'll grab the GPS position, throw it in there. That is good. Nav data, again, no way to adjust that at the moment. And over to our flight plan and our route. And I'm just going to pull up my operational flight plan. Make sure I've got that ready to go. All right, so our route today is from Romeo Juliet Golf Golf, which is Chubu here in Nagoya, and we're heading to Romeo Juliet. That's all the Japan airports. Bravo Bravo, which is the Kansai airport in Osaka. So we'll put that in. There we go. And then we can execute that, and we are good. So we're going to be departing here on runway 36. Let me just grab the weather, put it into the chat. Winds have come around. Oh yeah, they're swinging around good here and increasing. Wonderful. So as you can see, winds are currently 300 at 24 knots. That's going to give us a bit of a crosswind for takeoff. Not too bad though, it's almost down the runway, runway 36. And we will execute that. We are not going via a departure, but we are heading right to S-Pan. The reason we're not doing a departure is they take us too far out. So we'll put S-Pan in, and that is going to be the Japanese S-Pan on the east. That is good. We'll execute that. And then from S-Pan, we can go in and do our thing. So from S-Pan, we're going direct to Singu, S-I-N-G-U. We'll enter that as our next waypoint. Execute. And from Singu, we are taking an airway. That is going to be the Yankee 544. And we're going to take that to Dande, D-A-N-D-E. There it is there. And we will execute that. And if we return and return, there's our route so far. Now from Dande, we're going to go in on our arrival. We're going to be doing the Dande C for a runway 24 right. Current check of the winds there. They were sort of out of the west. Still out of the west, 250. So we're going to be doing the ILS Zulu. Here it is, ILS Zulu 24 right. And we are going to be going in on, as mentioned, the DANDEC arrival. Got a weird way of naming it here. DANDEC arrival. That is good. And it's showing Maya. Let me just take a look at the charts. That is correct. We are going to go to Maya. And then we are going to, from Maya, come around on the ILS. Alright, so that is in. We should have the one discontinuity here. So we will clear that out. And there we go. So that takes us down all the way to Maya. And then from Maya, we've got these waypoints 450, 451, 452 on the Burj Blonde. And that is good. So Burj, we need to be at 1,600 feet. We can check what it says. I'm going to make that a hard 1,600. There we go. And if we come back to Blonde, which is our intercept point, that should be 1,600. It is. Alright, so that is all good. Come back to our index, our initialization. We'll go into our weights now. Back into the load sheet for the aircraft. So our zero fuel weight today is going to be 18,330. There we go. And we are taking as our fuel load. Just get the total 1878 on the fuel. And that gives us a estimated takeoff weight of, that's not bad. Okay, we'll be using a bit on the engine run up as we end taxi, so we are looking good there. So that is done, and we go over our performance initialization. Cruise altitude today will be 16,000 feet. And that is good. Our alternate for today's flight. Let me just find it here. We're going back to RJGG. Is that the plan? Yeah, it's return to base. So it's going to be RJGG, and we'll go back to 10,000 feet if required. Get that in. And we're all set up there. And units are all good for what we're using. So you can go over to flight plan, and over here we can go to our performance, and there's our V speeds. 108, 108 out of rotation, 111 to climb out. Transition altitude here in Japan for this is going to be 140. And it wants it in feet, so there's 14,000 feet. All right. That is good. So that's all set up there. We can come over to the radios now. And COM 1 will be 122.8. We are up on VATSIM, but it's very early morning here. It's about 4 in the morning, so there's nobody really up on ATC. 121.5 will be the guard channel, and that will be our radio 2. And that is set. All right. Over on the nav, we'll let them auto-tune on the radios. ADF we're not too worried about. There is, as far as I know, no ADFs that we're going to be needing. I'm going to go on terrain on my display. Traffic, we'll run normal. That will be fine. Over on Roger's side, he's going to run weather on his. He can go normal as well. That is good there. And we're not running synthetic. Over on surveillance, TCAS transponder, we're going to be squawking 2000. We'll enter that, and that is good. That is on standby. And we are good there. And I am going to go, that's plan mode. This mode, and I want, there's our 10 miles. And once we get the engines up, we'll switch Roger over on his side. All right, we're just waiting on bags now by the sound of it. And then we'll be up and going. Flight time for today's flight is an estimated 1 hour and 5 minutes. Again, not sure how this wind is going to affect us because we are kind of flying on a westward heading. We'll see what happens there. So with the FMC done, we can come down to the altimeters. 1006. We'll set that in. 1006, and that should be both sides. This one's showing standard. Sure why he's showing standard on his side. I'll set MDA on there anyway. For that, we're just waiting now. So once again, before we start up the engines, we have to go into hotel mode. And to do that, we need to call for the push beforehand because it treats us as starting engines and it won't do the push even with no props turning. So we're just going to wait for them to finish up and then we will get going. While we're waiting, we'll take a look at our route today and get an idea of where we are flying. No, that's not what I want. I want that button. All right, so we're up here on the bay. We're going to be taking off to the north. We'll make a left-hand turn out over the water, heading down to Espan, at which point we will be crossing over the little peninsula here. We're going to turn kind of northwest back over land to Shingu. From Shingu, we're going to fly down south of the Osaka area, back out over the water where we're going to make these series of turns on our approach, coming in over this island, and then circling around and up over the water to come in for landing on runway 24 right. If we look at the airport, here she is. We're going to land 24 right, where they're going to be taxiing in, and we'll be parking. Let's see where we're going to park. That is the main terminal. We'll park here on the passenger terminal 2. So if we come into our chart and we look for the other one, turn that on, and then if we come out, take a look at the airport, we can see it's got the curved building here. M2, M9. Yeah, these would be the parking spots somewhere around there. Well, it's not really lining up from what I can see. This is that section down there is this one. I wonder if this is supposed to be up here. Yeah, it looks like it. So we'll be parking up in these spots here in front of the terminal, probably 96 or 97. But that's the flight plan for today. Looks like that's the last of the bags going on board. Alright, and nothing else has to come in from the cabin, so let's get the main door closed. We'll get the tail prop in. Wheel chocks can be removed as we are on ground power. He's pulled away. We can get the cargo door closed. We are good. So we'll come on here. We'll get the beacon up. And just a quick check of the aircraft. Everything is clear and has been removed. Alright. So with the wing lights on, let them know we're going to do a hotel start. That's the signal. Illuminates the inside of the engine so they know that it's going to be starting up. So like I said, we're going to have to do the pushback. And then we're going to have to stop. When they tell us to release parking brakes, we're not going to. That's when we're going to start up our engines and get ready to go. But when we do pushback, we'll be going tail to the right, nose to the left, since we want to taxi out that way towards the taxi line. Alright, ground power is still connected. And here we are. Alright, so we got 70 passengers on board. We're almost full on this very early morning flight down to Osaka. And again, we should see a little hint of light on the horizon by the time we get down there. Hopefully now that we're doing 2 a week, Mondays and Fridays, we'll start chasing sunrises again very shortly as we continue to head south. Alright, we're going to go, like I said, nose left, tail right. There's the release parking brake. So we're going to ignore that. So it's time to start up the engine. So we're going to come up top here. We're going to go to our engine 2. Pump on. Starter, we'll go start AB. We already have the prop brake engaged, so we can hit start number 2. So number 2 engine is starting up. As soon as we hit about 10, we'll add fuel. There we go. Fuel added. Internal turbine temperature is rising, but you can see we have no torque on the prop. And as you can see, she is firing up, but we have no prop spin, which is what we want. Alright, so we are in hotel mode. We can come up to the top again. We're going to come up to the hydraulic power. Make sure we have blue and green hydraulics. The low lights are out. Oxygen will come on. And we'll just continue down the checklists. Alright, so takeoff data is set. FCP is set. We're going to be going on a vertical speed. We're going to set our vertical speed. Oh, it doesn't want me doing that yet. Okay, that's fine. Number one, fuel pump will come on. Fuel quantities are checked and good. Landing elevation is on automatic. Seatbelt signs are on. Fuel use is good. Probes we're going to turn on now as we're getting ready to go. So probes are on. Everything here is faulty because we're under low power. That is good. Cockpit or cabin temperature is coming up. We are good. Power management set to take off. Flight directors are on both sides. Radios, transponders are set. Trim, we want 1.1. That's a bit much. Trim 1.1 is set. Transponder is set. And we will make sure we are ready there to turn it on when we're good to taxi. So doors are closed, chocks are removed, and we can come over here now and have them remove the ground power. Okay. Not sure why that all just died. We are in hotel mode. All right. That is good. So we are good for our push and start. So parking brakes released. So we're going to hydraulic auxiliary pump a couple times on there. I'll pop up top and we can release the prop brake on engine number 2. It is now unlocked. Starting to get rotation. All right. And we're going to bring number 2 engine up. We'll start number 1. Number 1's coming online. I'm not sure why everything just went out on me like that. There, everything's coming back online. And we'll bring bring the engines up. There we go. Parking brakes are set. Alright, so we'll come up top. We'll make sure everything is good. Good there. We got the faults there because we're not up at full power, but that's fine. Everything is looking good. No lights are on. And we are good there. We've got everything up here. Engines are all looking good. So go ND and ND. You're good there, but we're going to give you a $20-mile bubble around us. And you are good. Clear that. And I think we're good on the engine start. So confirm good starts.
We have a good engine start.
And we'll carry on. I'll just double check hydraulics. There's no lights. AC wild is good. We're all good up top. Everything is good. Temperatures are good. And we're good there. So flaps will go notch for takeoff. Anti-skid test. That is good. Flight controls. Gust lock is removed. There we go. And autopilot set. So we're going to go vertical speed. Why is that doing that? Let me just check something quickly. I was playing around with something the other day. I'm sure I switched it back. Yeah, should be fine. Let me go to that one. Should be in nav. I want vertical speed mode. Oh, that's fine. We'll go to indicated. There we go. It'll come in later. So ready for taxi. Taxi light is on. Logo light is on. Let them know in the back we're about to go. NTS is not required. Bleeds are good. Temperatures, pitot heats are checked. And start selector mode is off. All right. Nagoya Chubu traffic, Skyways 5556 taxiing from Delta Apron to runway 36 via Bravo 6 Alpha, holding short Alpha 1. Alright. So as per usual, I find that if you go right down to idle, although it's not doing it right now, we'll see if it does it. I found it was going too low and it would end up cutting out on power and brakes and stuff like that, but we'll see what happens. So let's get a little bit of power here. And we'll start our taxi out. I did play around with settings to adjust idle position and stuff, so we'll see if it makes a difference. We do have that wind coming out of the west, kind of head on to where we are now. You hear that wind howling out there? We are kind of taxiing into the wind. Alright, so if I pull that right back, yeah, she's not too bad. I'm not getting the big cutouts I was getting before, so that might have fixed it. I'll need a little bit of power though. We are taxiing into that strong wind. As you can see, it's like right in our face at 23 knots. I'm going to head out here to Alpha. Taxi down. That was an Alpha. We didn't go hard enough on that turn. Well, that's my mistake. Taxied out onto the runway there. Runway incursion. I've had to call the tower and apologize. There we go. That looks more like it. Wind's now coming in from the side. There's the airport, looks lovely. A lot of the scenery I'm using here on this series is coming off FlightSim.to. All freeware type of stuff. We're doing good. Let's get a little bit of power going. No hints of sunrise yet. Oop. That's the wind pushing on the tail. Again, we're facing like a 25 knot wind here. Having to fight a bit. Let's stay in the cockpit this time and keep an eye on where we're going. We're going to take her right down to the end, Alpha 1. Definitely feeling the wind pushing me around here. There's Alpha 2. Alpha 1's just past it. Alpha 1 for runway 36. Let's pull her up to the line. There we go. Alright, we're on the brakes. So, pre-departure takeoff config check. Something is not configured. Oh, flaps went too far. Registered 2 notches. There we go. Takeoff config is okay. Power management confirmed. We are in takeoff mode. Speeds are set. Altitude and speed select. We're going to 16,000. We'll dial that in. And our climb speed 170 is already dialed in. FCP, set nav, and radios are all set, and we are ready to go on that. Oops, basically flying straight out to that first waypoint. Fuel quantities are checked, and annunciator lights are all good. So we come up top here, we can go strobes on. Landing lights are now on. Taxi light will remain on for takeoff. Transponder is on. And we go back over to comms. Torque is confirmed auto, and clock and runway. Well, runway is confirmed. We can get the clock going. It will start as soon as we take off. Nagoya Chubu traffic, skyways 5556, taking position runway 36, departure to the southwest. Alright, we're looking good. No inbound traffic. So about 110 knots, we're going to rotate out. We're going to add left aileron because we're going to get a push on the wing from that wind coming in off our left. As we roll, we'll ease off a little bit, but we're going to have to be ready to correct for drift as we come off the runway. And then we'll go through our procedures as we climb out. All right, there we are. Looking good. All right, power management will go to notch. Power is in notch, and we are good to go. Nagoya Chiba area traffic skyways 5556 departing runway 36. Nagoya. All right, brakes released. Some left aileron in. Controlling with rudder, watching our speed. Airspeed's alive, 130 knots. A little bit of forward pressure, keep that nose down. As the speed comes up, we'll roll off the ailerons. 75, 80, 90. There's 110. A little bit of nose up. Dragged it a little bit, but we are up, positive rate. Gear up. We'll correct for the wind now. That speed build. Power management will now go to climb mode. Bring that nose down. Let's get her start accelerating. All right, starting to accelerate. Set our vertical speed at 1,000. Nav is on, autopilot engaged, yaw dampers on. We're going to turn on course. Keep that 1,000 feet per minute as we climb out. When we hit 170, we'll switch over to our indicated airspeed for the climb. Looking beautiful, not a lot of clouds in the sky, it's just windy out there. So we should be getting pushed over towards the line. We can come up now. We'll logo lights, takeoff lights, and wing lights can come off. So autopilot's on, yaw dampers on, altimeter's at 14,000. We'll be good there. Clear the checklists. See, we're starting to edge over, get a little bit of a intercept built in there. There's the airport below us. So we're through flap speed, so flaps coming up. And we're approaching that 170 knots. So you can see where we're headed here, out over this little area of land. There's 170. We'll go to indicated airspeed. then we're going to make that turn back over here, over the mountains, and then we'll be descending down into the Osaka area. You see the winds are almost 90 degrees at the moment. So we're not getting a push, and we're not getting a slow down either due to headwinds. Just a nice climb out. There's 5,000 feet. A little bit of traffic in the area. We got a FedEx landing at Osaka, Kansai right now, and then we've got a Cal, not sure who they are, 787-10. They're heading to Vancouver. It's flying by a bit further south right now. So again, a few little tweak things with this airplane, but it is fun to fly, and it's a bit of a challenge to do takeoffs and landings and not get those tail strikes. We're looking good. First flight of the day out of Nagoya. It's all good. There's another FedEx on the way in too from RJAA. Where's that? Is that Sapporo? Don't remember. You can see us coming online on course here, and the crab angle we have to take to deal with those winds. Yet I find SimBrief tends to put me higher than I need to be. Probably would have given me something like 20,000 feet. We'll just stick with 16. There's plenty of room. Look, everything is looking good. And if we want to do a thorough check, we can just go through the systems pages. Everything's good there. Engines are looking good. Oxygen, electrical, hydraulics. All looking good. Again, not a lot of cloud out today. Just a few isolated little clouds, but just windy. Population area around here, and our departure airport behind us. And we're through 10,000 feet. Landing lights can come off. I'm gonna leave the seatbelt signs on just in case we get some rough air with these winds over the mountains that we're coming up to. It's 8 minutes into the flight. We've got just under an hour left. Not sure how the winds are going to affect us on the flight, but I'm sure that was taken into account with the flight planning. As mentioned, we are on VATSIM, live time, live weather. And the local time, yeah, it is early here. In fact, I think if we pop down, you can see here 9-hour difference. The local time, it is 5:15 in the morning, so very early flight as we head out here. It's 12,000 feet, so we got 4,000 to go. And then we'll be up in cruise. Short flight like this, though, we won't be in cruise for long. Where we're heading down. Let's see when these weather updates have come out. So they've come out on the hour, a couple of half-hour ones. So the latest at 19:30, so that's about 50 minutes ago. 260 at 24 knots. Few clouds at 4,500, scattered at 5,000, broken at 6,000. So it's a bit more cloudy down there. It's 12 degrees. Becoming 270, 34, gusting 44. Wow. And there's a storm coming, because later on they're expecting rain and thunderstorms. That's later on in the day. Not yet, but the winds are picking up. So it's going to be a windy arrival. Should still be able to get her down. It said the winds are going to be 2.6, and we are landing on 2.4. So just a 20-degree angle. It's going to be enough to cause a little bit of issue, but hopefully it won't be too bad. Alright, there's 14,000 feet. We can switch over to standard pressure. Standard set. Not sure why that won't come off of standard, but that's fine. We don't use that one anyway. It's not like we're getting warnings of a mismatch. So we're set up to fly the ILS, so we're not going to have to do vectors. It's going to be a continual approach in on the ILS. So we've got that working for us. There we go. 15,000 feet. One to go. Because here we're only making 150 knot ground speed. We're doing 170, so we got a 20 knot reduction in our ground speed due to this wind and the angle it's on. $400 to go. It is dark out. Still hear that wind. There's a faint red on the horizon, so we're starting to get a little hint of the sun coming up. We are coming up for flight level 160. So we're going to switch over to cruise power setting. Get our speed up a little bit. As we're now level. Now we've got almost a 25-degree crab going right now, dealing with this wind. So the good thing with doing this flight at this time of year is we're supposed to be chasing sunsets as we flew down Japan. As winter came in, we were getting further south, so sunrise would be hopefully staying around the same time. So like I said, now that we're doing 2 flights a week on this one, Mondays and Fridays, hopefully that'll push us a bit further south where we can get some nice flights. We get some beautiful sunrises on the first couple legs. As we're getting ready to go, the sun would come up. So it's getting darker a lot faster. To the point now where we're just landing in the sunrise. But we're not so much heading south on this one as we're heading west, so. And the way the Japanese islands go, I think we could have a couple of those legs before we head more south again. So we're about 7.5 miles from S-band now. It's the departure that we were looking at taking, but they all extend out to another waypoint, which is way further out at the Keck VOR, and we don't want to go all the way down there. We're going to cut across the land here, so no point in doing that. We're on a short hop anyway. In fact, for a flight like this, you'd probably want to take the train. So our ground speed's up to 200 knots. That's nice to see. Not much to see outside. Again, it's pretty dark. Although shortly we should be seeing the light on the horizon, or at least the YouTube compression will allow us to see the light on the horizon. And you can see in the overhead information, it's only like a 68 miles direct line from here to our destination. All right, 2 miles from our destination, or our waypoint. There we go, we're making the turn. So once we turn at Shingu, we'll start doing our approach stuff and getting ready there. So contrary to what the map is showing there, this is another landing out in the water. The airport is built out on the bay. So this will adjust when we zoom in a little bit. Come around, the wind's now coming in from the left. We're still got 215. That's good, although we're not getting any benefit from the wind at the moment. We do like how our true airspeed is 275, but our ground speed's only 218, so Yeah, we're getting hit pretty hard with that wind. Our indicated airspeed is way shorter than our true airspeed, which is interesting. But right now we're going to pass over the coast and head up over the mountain range that separates basically the Osaka Bay from the Nagoya Bay. The two bays here and here. And a big mountain range here. Or at least a whole bunch of peaks. It's a pretty rough area. – 14 miles to Shingu. And there's the Osaka area out that way. Yeah, not too far, not too long a flight. Interesting, it's not showing needles. Sure, I got that set up for showing that. What's the cargo compartment? Everything's looking good. That's good. So Osaka's ahead. Shingu's 5 miles. Once we make that turn, we can start prepping for our descent and arrival into the Osaka area. Of course, Osaka is a port town, but if you go a little bit to the northeast, up into the hills, you come to Kyoto, which is the old capital. Beautiful place, been there. If you are going to Japan, or do go to Japan, highly recommend. Highly recommend you go to Kyoto. Spent a few days there. It was fantastic. Definitely go back there if I head that way again. 2 miles to go. Then we'll make the turn. There we go. Alright, so there we are. We're nice and level. I'm going to sync the heading. And we're going to go over to heading mode. And we're going to set up for the ILS. So if we come down to our nav, frequency we're going to want for the ILS, for the localizer Zulu 24 right, is 108.5. So we'll set that in 108.5. Hit enter, and we will put it over, get that in there and on. So that is now in. The other thing we're going to need is the course, which is 238 degrees. So we're going to take our selector for the nav. We're going to switch over to our ILS, and we're going to set our course of 238 degrees. It's currently 360. You can see down there it shows ILS 108.5, and then course coming into 238. There we go. That is set. So we can come back over to the flight management computer, and we'll hit nav, and LNAV will let it get us back on course. Oh, it's looking very nice. Nicely lit up there as we come in. So the other thing we got to do is our minimums. We're going to be coming in on a Cat 1 since the clouds are going to be nice and high. So 223 feet will be our minimums. I've already got minimum descent altitude selected, so we're going to go 230 or 223. We're actually going to up that to 230, so we round up, and that will be just over 200 feet. And MDA is set on the other side as well, so they are matching. So that is set in there. If we have to go out and do a missed approach, we turn right, climb to 3,000 outgoing via the KIE VOR radial 286 to Lilac and hold. So what we can do is we can come back down here to nav. Nav 2, we can go 111.6. I just froze. There we go. 111.6. That is the Kansai VOR. Put that in there, so that is now going to show as well. There's the needle pointing towards it. So that's where we're going to fly, and it'll be on the 286 radial on the outbound, which we can't dial that in yet because we were using that course for the ILS, but if we need to do it, we at least know what the heading is going to be. Alright, but it's in the system anywhere. You can see Lilac there, that's where the hold is, that's where we'd be going. So we're 3 miles from Ridge, and Dandy here is the entry point into the arrival. And we do have some height restrictions. We have Jolly at 6,000 or 8,000. Sorry, we have Awaji at 7,000, and then at Maya, which is right there, we have to be at 4,000, which is what it says. And that's all good. It's all programmed in, and we check those altitudes. But right now, we're kind of, oh, there's the red on the horizon. Sun's starting to come up. But there's the, we're out over the hills here. All the little communities and roads with all the lights on them. And as I mentioned, off to our west, there's Osaka below the clouds, illuminating all the clouds there. And just ahead is the town of Wakayama. We're going to fly by and head back out over the water. The top of the descent's about 45 miles away. We'll set our intercept altitude, which is 1,600 feet. And then we'll set VNAV so that it knows to start descending when we get there. It's a little bit further down the road, and then we'll have to watch our power. Try to maintain around 200 knots as we descend, so we don't overspeed. Because again, unlike the jets, we have no auto throttles in this thing. So we're looking good. The airport is actually this out here. That's where we're headed. It's kind of overlaying it a little awkwardly, but that's where we are, landing off the island, or on an island. Winds are pretty strong for 16,000 feet, 77 knots, 78 knots. It's rather high. We'll see how bad it is when we get down to the ground, but I'm expecting it to be a very windy arrival. So as we finish our cruise portion here, we're back tomorrow. Second to last flight on our tour around the Atlantic Ocean. We're in Africa. We're heading out of Lagos, Nigeria, and we'll be flying out 1,400 hours tomorrow. On Sunday, we're back in our F1 support series. We're leaving Austin, Texas, and flying the 747 freighter down to Mexico City as we work to get caught up and finish off that series. So that is on Sunday, and then we're back on Monday in Japan again for the next leg of our tour of Japan, north to south. If you want to come in and join us, you're more than welcome. You can come over to the Discord. Discord links are in the description. You can find out what we're flying and when. Currently, Wednesdays and Sundays are multiplayer on the Northern Europe server, and all the rest of the flights, such as this one, are on VATSIM. But you're welcome to find out when we fly and what we're flying on what day, and then come along and join us. It's always nice to have people along for the ride. And as usual, please hit the like button, throw a comment down, leave something in the chat if you're watching right now. Comment afterwards. I always come back to answer them. And consider subscribing to the channel. And if you really want to support us and what we do, getting aircraft and airports and all that type of stuff, then you can join the channel as well. We're going to have some exclusive members only content coming shortly, and hopefully some emojis as well. starting to get that color on the horizon. There's that red there. Probably won't show up for a little bit more on YouTube due to the compression with the dark colors, but sunrise is coming. Probably not going to see it until everyone's at breakfast after we get down, but that's all good. We're just 3 miles from Dundee. See when I zoomed in, the marker moved a little bit closer. It'll keep moving closer until it's right above it. Winds are shifting slightly. We're still on track. And we're now on the official approach. So generally we got to be above 8,000, which we will. We're at 16 right now. So that is good. So right now we have to be, we have a maximum of 240 knots we could be at. 225, a maximum of 230 below 14,000. We'll go down to 200 for the arrival, as mentioned. As we are just a lowly turboprop. Just thinking through the start procedures and the way this aircraft works, I think next time, if we have to push back, we'll get engine 2 up and spinning and up into auto before we disconnect the ground power and start to push. And that way we'll get power off the generators and everything should be good there. That generator was marked off. That might have been one of the issues. Just noticed that. What if I accidentally clicked on it at some point? Interesting. Huh. I'll zoom in here. Let's see. What I want. There we go. So we're 8 miles from Jolly, and then once we pass there, we can set up for our descent. Once again, platform altitude on the ILS is going to be 1,600 feet. I'll start cranking that in now. There we go, 1,600 feet is set. After we pass Jolly, we get ready on the VNav to intercept and start downwards. 38 minutes into the flight, and we're just about to start our descent, so we're not doing too bad. There's the coastline. We're just heading out over the water now, and there's the sunrise starting to come up behind us. Of course, flying the Topa Sky livery, subdivision of Fly UK. Usually found flying in Australia and New Zealand, but for this series we have the aircraft up here in Japan. So we're just about to get to Jolly. There's the drift. And switch over to gates. And there's our turn. Our deviation indicators have now come up, and we have our descent path indicator. Top of descent is coming up. And fuel is looking good. So on the top of the descent indicator touches the nose of the aircraft, I'll go into VNav, and then we should be intercepting the path. As I see it moving here first and coming down, and then I'll hit it then. There we go. So VNav path is armed. See our VNav path, feet per minute for the descent. Not sure why we're not heading down yet. That was the top of descent. Interesting. Well, we're going to go into vertical speed. We'll start down. Pull the power back. Get her down to around that 200. Oh, there's the indicator going, hey, what are you doing down there? Take it down to 1,000, see if we re-intercept the line as we come along. There we go, keep that speed around 200. nav path. Yeah, not sure why it didn't start. Maybe it might have been a little bit slow getting that button clicked. Well, there's our restrictions and our descent speed, so that's all working now. Sometimes you just have to slap it a little bit to get her up and going properly. And again, we want to keep that speed around the 200 point. Alright, so we're on descent destination weather. We have obtained arrival data. We checked and entered in. Automatic torque, we're going to leave on as we control our speed fine. Radios are set in. Engine antennas not required. FCP is set as required. Landing elevations on automatic. Minimums are set 230. Approach, missed approach is briefed. Local altimeter. Oh, winds have died down. 250 at 17. Overcast at 7,000. Few at 2,800. 12 degrees. 1006. And we got high winds and thunderstorms on the way. So let's get her down before that. So we'll switch over. We're through 14,000. So we'll go over to local pressure of 10. Other way. 1006. Go. That's fine, that's not moving. It's 200 knots, we're good. Alright, 10,000 feet, we can do landing lights. Seatbelt signs have remained on for the flight. So, Awaji, we have to be above 7,000 feet. We are at 12,500. Not an issue. There's our turn. And we're now heading to Lilac, which we have no restrictions. But at Maya, we have to be at 4,000. You can see our magenta 4,000 there. That's our next restriction. And we'll be descending at 1,100 feet per minute. Playing the speed, trying to keep it around 200. Same trying. It's a bit of a, if you idle it drops too far, if you go power it adds too much, you know, so it's always up and down. Alright, so there's the clouds, and there's the light starting to come in. Looking very cool. It's 11,000 feet. We'll power up, watching that speed. 185, we can go flaps 1. Two stages of flaps, takeoff and landing. Flaps 1 is takeoff, flaps 2 is landing, full flaps. A little bit barn doory, but that is all good. ILS is 21 miles away, and you can see the VOR for missed approach. That's just off the end of the runway, so that's showing how far the airport is. There's 10,000 feet, so we have the landing lights on. We'll throw on the logo wing lights and taxi lights, make sure everything is illuminated, and we'll let them know we're passing through 10,000 feet. See the lights in the clouds there. There's the island that we're passing over. lit up as we came through the clouds. Two and a half miles from Lilac, 8,300 feet. It's a 14.4 mile run from Lilac to Maya. You can see our restrictions there. Good. We're going to bring ourselves down to 10 miles here. You can still see the route laid out there. Alright, turning to Maya. Sort of a straight run. I think Molly's getting into something. I'll have to check afterwards. Actually, give me 5 seconds. Let me just go take a look. No, she's good. She was just playing with one of her toys or something. Alright, there's another airport there, but that's not the one we want. The one we want is going to be off over this way. Not sure if we can see it yet. And we've still got some low clouds over here that's kind of hiding it. You can't even see the red of the sunrise, so yeah. Let's get that speed down. I want to get her down to about 180 or so by the time we hit May and make that turn and get the first stage of flaps out. So for the approach, the ILS, VOR, and NDB frequencies are in. Once we turn at Maya, we'll switch power to takeoff mode, and then we can start extending the flaps. And there's Osaka ahead of us, as mentioned. There's speed coming back down to 185. We'll try to hold it at around 180. Hi, Molly. You're good. I'm almost done. All right. Try to hold her there. Oh, I know you want more treats. You can't have any until we're down. I don't get dinner for an hour anyway. Go lay down. Go lay down. See the airport there showing on the terrain. We're looking good. She's usually pretty good at just staying asleep. Hold that speed, 180. Restriction coming up. There's the turn. So come down, so we're going to set power management to takeoff mode in case we have to go around. That speed there at 180, so flaps 1. And we'll try to hold about 170. She'll slow down fairly quickly. flap set. There's lights over there. I think that's the airport. Just watching that wind. 32 knot push at the moment. It's going to be a left-hand exit anyway when we get down. Just bringing everything up here so I can see it. Alright, we're flying over the bay. We're basically heading eastwards at the moment. And then we're going to make that multi-step turn to come around and line up. Once we do that, we'll quickly switch our nav source over to ILS and then go approach mode. And watching that speed. And there's nobody else around on Vetsin, but I'll make the call once we turn on to the ILS. 2600 is our next altitude. And 185 knots max, so we are good there. She's gone into the other room, so that's good. So there's our turn. Watching that speed. Heading down to 2,000 feet now. $1,600 after. There's the runway. That one's now pushing us from the side. And we're gonna go approach mode. The localizer and the glide slope bring us in now. There's the localizer. Kind of went through a little bit there on the approach, but that's fine. We'll come back and pick it up. And glide slope is slowly coming in. Kenzai Osaka area traffic skyways 5556 established on the localizer for runway 24 right, Osaka Kenzai. Just going to keep an eye on it. Localizer is capturing. Coming down towards 1,600 feet. Glide slope slowly coming in. I think we're running into a little bit of cloud there. Start slowing her down. Get to 160, we'll drop the gear. Just about to start down on the glide slope. There's the glide slope. There's 160, gear down. Glide slope capture. Localizer capture. that speed down. We're going to want about 110 as we come in. That's us below 150. Flaps full. Looks like I'm getting some rain here. And we're going to want about 110. And we've got that wind slightly out of the right. Don't really do anything, but that's fine. That's to the effect. Speed. Forgot. No auto throttles. Yeah. Speed's coming up. All right, 600 feet. Try to keep it around 110. Wind is coming around a bit more, quartering. See, we're crabbing. It's 500.
500.
I'll let the autopilot take it to minimums and then I'll take over.
Approaching minimum.
Okay, I have control.
200. Minimum. Minimum.
Speed back.
100.
Continue. Yeah, we gotta remember, 50. Don't flare.
40.
Fly it to the ground.
30. 20. 10.
And we're down. Whoa! Get that wing down. She doesn't want to wing down. Wow, that was high winds on the wing. I had it right over as well. The yoke, full aileron input, and she just lifted on me. Wow. And that's why we have limitations on landing speeds and crosswinds and how it varies from aircraft to aircraft. That was, yeah, that was interesting. Anyway, let's get this thing in and we'll get her parked. Ideally, this flight would not have been flown in these weather conditions, at least not in this aircraft. But yeah, that full rudder and ailerons over, and she just did not want to get that wing down once she got up. Not at those speeds, anyway. All right. We're going to get off here at Bravo 7, and then we'll taxi into a spot in the closed terminal here. Good thing I don't have damage on. But it's always a learning lesson, right? At least in the sim, you can learn what you did and then fly another day. Osaka Kansai. Skyways 55, 56 clear. 24 right at Bravo 7. Taxiing to the passenger terminal number 2 via Bravo 7 Juliet 3 Sierra 6. Alright, let's get the flaps up. I think the still raining? I think it is. That's where we're headed over there. We'll go down to Sierra 4, I guess. Go in there. While we're taxiing in, we can turn off these. So again, I don't do single engine taxis. I find it uncontrollable on the ground. But oh, it looks nice. This is a airport from the flightsim.to. Just pull up to the spot right ahead of us here. Looks good. There we go. Alright, so parking brakes are set. Kill the wipers. Alright, flaps are all the way up. Transponder is on standby. Strobe lights are off, landing lights are off, taxi lights are now off, wing lights are off, our nav beacon and logo lights are on, trim is reset, pitot heats can't come off. We've been here about a minute, so we'll bring the engines back to FTR. Alright, so that's all good. We're all good up there. So we're going to shutter right down. So we're going to go down with engine 1. While that's coming down, the ground crew can hook up the ground power. Get the ground power on. Shut down the other engine. Alright. I'm not sure why this is all going off like that. Anyway, we'll get the other lights off. Like that light. We'll leave that light on. That light can come off. Signs and devices can come off. Fuel pumps will go off. Oxygen off. And the flight directors. And we can get the doors open. Wheel chocks in place. And we can start deboarding.
The boarding requested.
KGS can do it. Alright. So you can hear that wind howling there. And that little bit of light on the horizon as the sun is coming in. So that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully we won't have another windy one like this on the next time we're in Japan. But looks like there's a storm coming in. Take care, everybody. We'll catch you tomorrow if you're going to come along. As we're flying around the Atlantic. And second to last flight there. Take care. Bye for now.